How we doing, guys? Jack Bennett here for part 2 of creating a really basic disco beat or basic dance beat. In the first video, we were looking at playing just basic eighth notes on the hi-hat and opening the hi-hats on the in-between eighth notes. It sounded like this. And what we were doing there is just playing continuous eighth notes with the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. We were hitting a little bit harder on the in-between, on the and notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which of course was when we were raising the left foot there. And also I was hitting on the edge to get that thicker sound rather than playing on the top of the hi-hat, which is a bit of a thinner sound. Now, in this lesson, we're actually going to make the hi-hat pattern 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1. So we're playing 2 16th notes and then an eighth note inside every beat. And the eighth note, by the time we get to that eighth note, which is the third 16th note, we're still going to open it. All right, so the hi-hats are still opening on the in-between eighth note. So now it sounds like this. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1. Now, just like in the previous lesson, we've got to make sure when we get to the next beat that when we close the hi-hat, which is going to stop the gliss sound, that we are hitting the hi-hat at exactly the same time. That's a hard thing to do. It's something sometimes that people don't think about and it goes unnoticed, and then we wonder why we've got this sort of these little splits, these little flams that really aren't adding to the groove at all. Things aren't lining up as they should. So make sure that that's happening first of all, and still make sure that by the time you get to the and beat that you're hitting on the edge of the hi-hat, so you'll want to lower the wrist a bit there. All right. When you're playing it slow, the technique is more in the wrist. Okay, you can be really deliberate with the number of up and down strokes that you're doing, more like this. 1E and 2E and etc. Having said that, of course, we're not really in dance tempo yet if we're playing it that slow. But from purely a technical point of view, as with anything that involves, doubles or triples with a single hand, when we play slower, we can use more wrist. Now, when we speed it up, and I'll just do it without opening the hi-hat, we start to use more finger stroke, and we start to use the finger snap, kind of getting into that molar technique type thing. So what I'll do there is I'll play more like this. I won't open the hi-hats just yet. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like a tap stroke, another tap stroke, and on the second one, I'm releasing the stick and it's lowering. And then on the third one, I'm snapping the stick into the hand. And at that point, because the stick's lower than the edge of the hi-hat, when I snap, I'm playing on the edge, which is what I want, because when I open the hi-hat at the same time, I want that thicker sound, as I explained earlier. So now I'm getting... Right, so it's not all on the edge, and it's not all on the top. Because from a texture point of view, from a sound contrast point of view, it's kind of monodynamic if you play it all on the same sound source. So it's good to mix up the sounds, even just within one part of the drum kit, i.e. the hi-hat. We can do so many different things with the hi-hat, playing on the top, on the edge, on the bell, open, close, lots of different things. And then all of the stuff with the foot, hi-hat chick, splashes, heel toe, etc. Okay, so lots of different things we can do there. All right, so that's what we're doing. Just get used to that. Keep it nice and even. 2E and 3E and then add in the snare. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Glisses. 1E and 2E and 3E. 1E and 2E and 3E and so on. Then we'll put in our right foot. Okay, no need to get any faster. Just get it nice and coordinated at the slower tempo. 3, 4. Once you get comfortable with it, start to increase the tempo on the metronome, but never sacrifice the evenness of what you're doing or the accuracy, things really landing together in unison if they should be. Never sacrifice any of that good stuff just for speed, okay? But speed it up once you can. So that's another way of playing the disco beat. It's pretty intense as far as your right hand's concerned, especially when you speed it up. But if you need a busier sounding pattern, that's a really good one to use. So check that out.